Good day, baldashi bookworms. Today I'm doing the butter book tag. Oh, okay. But maybe you just need some toast for that.
It has been a long time since I've actually sat down here and completed a book tag. It's not from lack of interest. I really do enjoy tags. I enjoy watching them. I really enjoy getting tagged in them. It's more of a testament to my lack of production through the second half of 2016. For some reason I struggled immensely with trying to get content regularly. And now in 2017, I'm actually fairly content with the amount of production I've been seeing in myself, although my writing has suffered a little bit, but I'll get to that in another video. So now here we are, going into the second week of February. I think it's about time I get around to getting some of these tags done. And the first one I'm going to approach is the Butter book tag, which was created by Josh at Literary Gladiators, and I was tagged in this by Peter Clark the writer back in October 26th of last year. So sorry about the delay, but without further ado, here we go.
Just one taste and you know what we mean.
Good health,
Yeah.
good taste,
Well,
good name.
Land O'Lakes.
Nothing against the genre itself, but westerns haven't really been in my wheelhouse, like, ever. Whether it comes to movies or books or whatever, I just didn't really get into them. There are exceptions. I've seen The Quick and the Dead, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, a couple of very key Western movies that are known as film classics, but I really haven't read any books, and I'm not really big on, John Wayne and the spaghetti westerns and all this. So to answer this question, I'm going to have to go with the only real Western I know that I read, and it was in high school. It was Shane by Jake Shaver, which to my knowledge is the paint by numbers kind of Western. We have the mysterious protagonist just coming into town, getting involved in the local conflict. It may be just because it's the only Western I ever really read, but from my understanding of the genre, it's the most vanilla, beat by beat kind of representation of what the genre expectations are. So it's more like the basic outline to all Westerns, or most Westerns at least. I may be wrong on that. If I am, please certainly correct me in the comments. Give me your recommendations. I wouldn't mind broadening my horizons when it comes to the Western genre, but for now, my answer to this question is Shane.
Around this town, one name stands out, whether you choose butter, margarine, or both. Hotel Bar, freedom of choice.
I'm really not going to talk in detail on this one because I feel like I mentioned this series in every single video I have ever done on this channel. But truth be told, if I was going to go on vacation and I was going to take a book for reading, it would definitely be Suburbia. That book just never gets old for me. But again, I'm sure you're tired of hearing about it, so I'll just move right along to the next one.
I switched from butter to imperial margarine.
You mean this is margarine?
Not just any margarine, imperial margarine. Once you taste it, you'll agree.
Sure tastes like butter.
Without a doubt, my favorite book involving royalty is The Selection by Kira Cass. Okay, no, sorry, that was a terrible joke. Promise it won't happen again. My actual favorite story involving royalty is The Empire of Bones by Terry Mixon. This is an unapologetic space opera. It takes place after the fall of the Terran Empire. We see Princess Kelsey, along with another cast of characters, getting stranded in another part of the galaxy. They get involved in this whole other conflict that's happening, and this is about them dealing with this and then, finding a way back home. The series is at least 4 or 5 books deep now, and the story has become very robust. For me, it signifies an example of how indie publishing is a viable option for writers to take, because Terry is 100% indie published, does it all himself, his wife does the covers, and he's a success story. But don't take my word for it. Like I said, it is well worth the
Bread
read.
deserves that delicious taste, melting into every bite.
Oh, brother.
And it has fewer calories.
Right.
And no cholesterol.
Okay. This one's for Country Crock.
Alone at last.
Maybe we should take Country Crock to the bake sale.
No. Let's stay here and loaf around.
For a camping trip, the most appropriate title I can think of, and you'll have to pardon me because this is another one that I haven't read since high school, would be The Dream Carvers by Joan Clark. I'm not sure how far this book's publication actually reached. It may not even be known outside of Newfoundland, for all I know. But it takes place in the early 11th century. Our protagonist is a Viking child, a boy, coming over from Greenland to Newfoundland. And unfortunately, he ends up, through circumstances out of his control, on the island with his people gone. And he ends up being captured by the natives at the time, the Beothics. If you are familiar with Newfoundland at all, you'll know Beothics were an Aboriginal people that have so far gone extinct. They didn't survive basically the European settlement of this island, and this book follows him basically learning their culture and actually like becoming a part of their community. At first as a prisoner, but then as an equal, as a member of the group. I don't remember a lot about it, but you say camping, and I think outdoors with a fire. I think of an Aboriginal community, at least this particular type. So yeah, come to think of it, this is one that I probably should reread. I think as an adult I will probably be able to pull more out of it than I could back when I was a teenager. So yeah, for a camping trip and a potential future reread for me, The Dream Carvers by Joan Clark.
Margarine? Oh, no. It's too sweet, too creamy.
Chiffon so delicious it fooled even you, Mother Nature.
Oh, it's not nice to fool Mother Nature.
If you think it's butter, but it's not. It's chiffon.
I know a lot of sequels, and I know a lot of spin-offs. It would be very, very difficult for me to try and sit down and contemplate which one of them would be considered to be a favorite. So I'm just going to go with my favorite recently read sequel or spin-off. This is going to be Fragile by Justin McCumber. So Fragile follows the protagonist, who I believe is a either black or biracial woman, who basically survived the events of Stillwater, the first book, and still feeling the effects, still feeling the aftermath of what happened there in that town. But she's turned on to this other situation that's happening where these little girls are going missing and dolls in their likeness are being left behind. Yeah, the story basically just follows Maya as she's trying to uncover what's happening to these missing girls. It's hard to really go into much more than that without either spoiling this book or Stillwater, the first one. So I'm going to leave it there. But yeah, my favorite sequel / spin-off would be Fragile by Justin McCumber.
That's why you can help yourself grow bigger and stronger 8 ways with Wonder Bread. I mean grow bigger and stronger 8 ways.
So be sure to eat Wonder Bread.
Get Wonder Bread fresh at your grocer's today.
Once again, this is another question with so many possible answers that I could go with. There's T. Morris and Pip Ballantyne, who writes the Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences series, steampunk series. There's Sean Platt, David Wright. They write the Yesterday's Gone series. If we're looking at characters, we got Jay Stanford and Elsbeth from Zeburbia. Literally, I could go on like this for hours, naming off duos, either writers or characters. I just thought I'm going to, again, try and get a little more diverse with the names that I'm throwing out here and talk with the duo that I haven't talked with before. And that's going to be James S.A. Corey, writers of the Expanse series. I've only read the first book, and I have seen the show. Even though this is a book tag, the show was weighing a lot into this pick. But for those that didn't know, James S.A. Corey is just the pseudonym for 2 friends that are writing this book. So it is 2 authors. And the Expanse series itself, based on the reviews, my experience with the first book, and then now the series that they are very hands-on with, it's one of the best recent sci-fi series to be published. So if for nothing else than to draw some attention to a series that I don't hear a lot of people in BookTube specifically talk about, I'm going to highlight James S.A. Corey here.
Big enough to eat.
Smells good. Positively delicious.
Juicy Pops is much fun to make as they disappear.
My answer for this is again going to go with something that I've read recently, and that's going to be Derelict Marines by Paul E. Cooley. I've mentioned Terry Mixon, I've mentioned Justin McCumber, and now I'm mentioning Paul Cooley. If I can find a way to put Scott Roche on this list, that'll round out the whole Dead Robot Society cast. But honestly, it's a deserved spot. Paul writes his stories, he writes his novels as if they're a movie playing out in his head anyway. So there's always this very theatrical kind of way things are presented. It helps in my case that he's really akin to horror. Even in this sci-fi, it's a sci-fi suspense. Basically, it's a horror story. And horror just happens to be the opposite of Western. Horror is my passion. It's my primary default position when it comes to consuming any kind of media. This new kind of Dead Space-ish kind of story that came from Paul this year, I would love to see how they would do this as a movie. And like I said, reading it did play it in my mind just like it was a movie. So, Derelict Marines by Paul Cooley. I'm going to go with probably the most obvious answer on this list, and definitely the most recent. I literally finished a book a few days ago, and that's going to be The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. I know on my video I may have painted a more positive picture of this book than I intended, because a lot of the comments on my video is that I've kind of made people curious enough to actually pick up the book and read it, which was not my intention. This is not a good book. It just wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I struggled to get through it at a number of parts in there, and if it wasn't for Audible, I don't think I would have. I think it may have been DNF'd. But thanks to Audible for getting me through some of the parts, I was able to finish it and get that video up. But it wasn't easy. So yep, a book I struggled to get through, definitely, without question. The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer.
Welcome to the French Chef. I'm Julia Child. All you need to make an omelet is a hot fire, and you need a bowl, and you need some butter.
A great French classic is quite easy for me because one of my favorite all-time literary characters is Edmond Dantes, otherwise known as the Count of Monte Cristo. So this Alexandre Dumas classic is one of my favorite narratives, stories, books of all time. I really latched onto this at quite a young age, a little too young to even be able to read the book at the time. I was enamored with this story. It's true the movie really watered it down, and it's a whole lot more of a circular, happy ending in the movie, but there's just something about this tale, the tale of vengeance, and how far can you justify your actions in the name of said vengeance? How far can you go down the rabbit hole of the people who scorned you before you become as much of a monster as they are? Edmond Dantes is not a perfect character by any means. He is not without his flaws. I know I've said this a lot during this video, but this is one I definitely intend to reread in the near future. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell you a sweet story or poem that I'm aware of. Of course, if we really expand the definition of sweet and go into my bit of a distorted view on sweetness, I would say probably anything at all written by H.P. Lovecraft. I understand it's not really sweet. When it comes to short fiction, I have not read anybody I enjoy more than H.P. Lovecraft. I'm not saying he's the best, but the Cthulhian mythos is just something that I find absolutely fascinating. So yeah, anytime I come to short stories, unless there's a specific reason not to, I will most likely turn to Lovecraft. And that's it. That is all the questions involved in the Butter book tag. My apologies, Peter, for taking so long to get around to this. And since it is about 3 months old, I'm not even going to try and tag anybody in this because I have no idea who may or may not have done it. As you know, with tags, there's no exclusivity, so if you enjoy it and you haven't done it already, give it a shot. And if you do, let me know. But that's it for now. So I'll just see you guys next time. Cheers.